Mr. Thompson, welcome to Bucharest. Romania has been a CERN member state for 10 years now. How do you evaluate the contributions of the Romanian community to CERN programs, and what do you consider to be the main development opportunities for the next decade?
Yeah, it's a really excellent question. This is not my first time in Bucharest. I've been before, and it's actually a great place to be. And this meeting, this ECFA meeting we're at today, we actually see the breadth of what the Romanian scientists are doing at CERN, and actually it's really impressive. Particularly on the main LHC experiments, some really impressive and important contributions. But also actually on some of the smaller experiments where individual scientists and small teams of graduate students can actually make a big difference. So given the relative newness of Romania at CERN as a member of CERN, I think the progress has been really impressive, and particularly that breadth is something that has really struck me today.
In many European countries, there's a pressure on research and education budgets. What is the strongest argument for maintaining and strengthening the investment in fundamental research?
Well, obviously I'm a particle physicist, so I'm a bit biased. The reason we do it, the reason we really fundamentally do it is to understand how the universe works. And I think that argument still has a big value. And when I go around and talk to politicians and ministers, you make that argument. They understand that this is important. But they want more, of course. They want more than just that.
Is the fundamental research more valuable in terms of added value?
It has, the thing, it has many values. It has that cultural value of exploring the universe, and I think that's really important. It really does inspire young people. If you want people to go into physics, the best way of doing that is to talk about particle physics and astronomy. Come into physics, and then obviously the young people go in other directions. But the other thing that I think is really important is the economic value. And this is something that's very hard to measure. But what we do is we say when we want to do something completely new, explore the Higgs boson, we usually just don't have the technology to do it. So we have to invent the technology to do the science. So this is very much innovation, but innovation driven by science. And what that means you do is you make giant steps forward. You can make really big leaps forward. So for example, we're starting to explore the use of high temperature superconductors for future magnet systems, for future colliders, all driven by science. And what often happens here is you make these giant steps forward, and then maybe 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, that technology really does change the world. And I know it's always feels a bit dated to talk about the World Wide Web. That was developed at CERN. That was developed at CERN actually when I was first there as a way for scientists to communicate more effectively, and look what happened to that. So it's really, you push science, innovate for science, and then your innovations then find their way in society. It's quite a difficult argument to make because it takes a long time.
From CERN perspective, what are the most important benefits that participation in major international collaborations brings to universities, to students, and young researchers from member states?
That's a nice question. Every time I go to the cafeteria at CERN, which I do quite a lot, or at least I walk through it a lot, I'm amazed. We have young people from over 100 countries at CERN all talking about science, and it's that real inspiring community, international community, people working together. It doesn't matter what nationality. I think that really inspires young people. It really ignites their imagination. But you also learn as well when you start to work with different cultures. You see people work in a different way, they think in a different way, and that's hugely intellectually beneficial. And I think it's really that excitement of international collaboration and just working towards a common good. And this is really unusual in science. These large collaborative efforts, which we have to have these efforts, or we won't succeed. But I think it's really inspiring. Actually, it inspires me.
Are the paradigm changing from 40 years ago when we were each in our lab? Now it's a joint effort. It's no longer individual effort.
I think even 40 years ago, the collaborations were much smaller. But as an individual scientist, let's go back to when I first went to CERN in the early 90s, so that's quite a long time ago now, the collaborations were still a few hundred people. And there's no way an single individual particle physicist could actually do a big experiment, even then. And go back before that, it was still harder. So So the experiments have got larger and larger, but you need these collaborations to succeed. And I think that's the advantage particle physics and cosmology and astronomy has, that to succeed, you also have to work as a team. And that you're forced to collaborate, and that's a good thing.
The update of the European strategy for particle physics represents an important milestone for the international community. What are the main priorities and challenges you identify for the coming decades?
So it was this was only a couple of weeks ago where CERN Council agreed to update the European strategy. Two key priorities in it. Number one is the High Luminosity Large Hadron Collider, the thing we're about to start building in 3 weeks' time, when we shut down the Large Hadron Collider for the long shutdown. That's a really exciting project. That's a project that will be right at the leadership of science, leadership of particle physics until 2040. Very, very exciting, very ambitious, massive step forward. But then, of course, the European strategy then said the highest long-term priority is the Future Circular Collider. Very ambitious project, 91 kilometers, electron-positron collider. This is a big tunnel. Very, very advanced technology. Absolutely, clearly the right scientific decision. And again, this was one of the things that came out of the scientific discussions. Across Europe, almost consensus that this is the right thing for CERN to do next. And that's unusual in big scientific communities. So the other thing that came out of the European strategy, the fact that this is now identified as the best option for CERN's future, gives me a job, a hard job. I had many jobs. But actually now the next few years will really determine whether it happens or not. We need to talk to all of our member states, secure the funding. This would be an absolutely amazing project. I mean, it's a project not just for particle physics, it's a scientific project for Europe. I actually believe it's a scientific project for humanity as a whole. So it's a very, very exciting future we've mapped out, and now we just have to secure the resources.
And now the last question is going more to the community connection. When CERN appeared, it was something hard to accept by parts of the society. Right now it became part of us. It's something common. We know that science is happening there. It's no longer a reason for conspiracy.
I think one of the things I've certainly seen in the last 2 years, I've seen other sides of the importance of CERN. I mean, we all know that the world is more fragmented now. There are political tensions across, even within Europe, there are political tensions. But one of the things CERN does is it provides a place where countries, and these are nations, European nations, can come together and recognise that they're doing something valuable. So I actually almost see a strengthening of this, of CERN's member states backing of CERN because of the geopolitical environment. And beyond that, we're still having very, very strong, effective collaborations and partnerships with countries outside Europe, such as the United States. They remain a really important partner to us. So the fact that you can collaborate internationally on these projects that are in some ways very pure in their aims, to understand how the universe works, I think is a huge benefit of a place like CERN.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.